Hello, friends, and welcome to the sermon recap for this week. We began 2 weeks ago talking about the Exodus story, the story of the children of Israel and their enslavement or bondage in Egypt. And it's a really beautiful story about how the Lord leads each one of us. All these stories are actually allegorical about our own journey from addictions, bad habits, selfish behaviors, absorption in worldly things, that kind of thing, and how the Lord can lead us out of that through a wilderness journey to the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. So it's a clear allegory about how the Lord can help us to move out of things that are destructive to our spiritual life to things that are actually healthy and heavenly and good, a state of real freedom. So we're going to talk about this for several weeks and break it up into different bits. Last week we talked about that idea that we are in bondage to bad things. We have to examine ourselves, see where it is that we're trapped, and acknowledge that the Lord will lead us out of that. And the means by which he uses to begin to lead us out of that is what's represented by Moses in these stories. And Moses is actually a picture of the Lord's divine truth that he gives us. It's born in our life, just like Moses is born in Egypt and he's drawn out of the water. The Lord draws out of that river, pictures sort of false thinking or misguided thinking, and how the Lord can pull out of that truth that can be raised within us or developed within us, just like Moses is developed and raised, until he becomes strong enough to lead the children of Israel out of their situation. Now, in these stories, initially, Moses is raised by Pharaoh's daughter because Moses had commanded that the Hebrews were getting too strong. So he said to kill all the males by killing them or throwing them in the river. And Moses was preserved and put in this basket and sent down the river. And Pharaoh's daughter had compassion on him and raised him as her own child. The Lord talks about how the Lord raises up or develops the truth within us, even in this world of focusing on natural things or sensual things, which is what Egypt pictures us. There's time in our life when we basically we grow up and we, as innocent little children, we love these stories of the Lord's word. They make sense to us, and we get a little older in our teenage years and we get sort of jaded by that and start to think they're fairy tales, that they're not really relevant to us. And that's what being raised up in Egypt means. There's real focus in our life on earning money or getting education and that kind of stuff, which is great. But if we get stuck there without thinking about the use they can serve in our life, then we get stuck and we can become addicted to those things and really can't find our way out of them. So when they become destructive and it feels like we are suffering, like the children of Israel, crying out to the Lord in bondage and that this is no fun anymore, we don't like this, then the Lord can lead us out. And the story we talked about this week specifically was Moses at the burning bush, where this bush was burning but it wasn't consumed. And that's a picture of how the Lord speaks to us in his word and can light us up, where his word is the kind of fire that is good, the kind of love that helps us to know how to care for each other and inspires us. And it doesn't consume us. Like anger is an emotion that can consume us, or hatred or contempt for others. That kind of thing is like a fire that does consume, but this bush was on fire, but it didn't burn. And that pictures how the Lord's truth, the Lord's word in our hearts is there, and it teaches us about love, which is what that fire is, and can lead us to be inspired to change our life. So we're going to talk more and more about this as the story unfolds, and hopefully you will get a lot out of it, because it's a story about all of us, how the Lord can take us from that place of stuckness, that place of addiction, of bondage, to that land flowing with milk and honey. And milk and honey pictures delight and enjoyment of higher things, of spiritual things, of heavenly things. All right, we'll talk more next week. Have a great day. Thanks.